Hey, Danny here with PT Biz, and we are in Easley, South Carolina, a small town outside of Greenville, South Carolina, checking out off-the-block performance physical therapy with Toni Counts and her husband, Cole. They've built out an incredible business here, 2 locations. This is their newer one. We're gonna show you how they are making it work in a small community, how they are making this space work in a really unique model and doing small group work as well. And we're gonna show you what they have coming up next for the next 5 years. I think it's gonna be pretty cool to see. So come on and check it out. All right. All right, we'll hug it out. All right, we're here in Easley, South Carolina, checking out Toni's place here. It's off the block physical therapy. Really cool spot, focusing on endurance athletes, triathletes, all of that in honestly, a really cool repurposed building.
Absolutely.
So tell me this, how long have you been in this location?
So in this particular space, we did expand from our original location in Central, which is even a smaller town.
And you still have, right?
Yeah. So we just expanded.
Yeah.
We have been here for right a year now, I think.
Yeah.
So this is our newer location.
So what's the population of Easley?
So Easley in and of itself, I want to say is between like 20 and 30,000.
Yeah.
And then Central, like I said, where we originally started is like less than 6,000. So small. So I grew up in Easley, and my mom and dad and sister and I used to run and bike and walk our dogs and whatever on this trail. And this building has been here for ages. It's been repurposed, right? And so we used to run by, and I would tell my mom, and this was when I was like in college, pre-PT school, pre-owning practice, all this stuff, I would be like, I'm gonna buy that building one day and I'm gonna turn it into a PT facility.
Oh, wow.
And so obviously that didn't happen.
We didn't buy the building, but you did get the PT part.
Right, so I started a practice, which wasn't originally the plan, which we could totally get into, but I started a practice, we started in Central, which is where we lived at the time, and I was following along the people who were repurposing this building, and they posted like, we've got 2 spaces for rent. I was like, shit, I've got to go look at it. Like that's the full circle dream.
Yeah.
And so we came and we looked, and it was reasonable per square foot, even though it might've been a little bit of an early move.
Yeah.
And it's been nothing but awesome here.
Yeah.
But it's so cool to be like, I now own a PT clinic in that building.
Yeah. They used to run by.
10 years ago,
That's
I
pretty
dreamed
cool.
of opening a clinic here.
That's amazing.
So I may not own the building, but the goal here is also to have, we want to have like copy and paste of what's already here. So the goal is to build this space out one day to house 4 clinicians. So we're going to have 4 treatment tables instead of 2. They would continue along the wall here, but eventually we'll have 4 treatment tables. I'd like to have 4 rigs and the equipment for everybody to kind of still have their own space. We'll move the, cardio stuff around, but there's room for that here. So what we have here though, and the reason we originally knew we needed this, we dry needle people, sometimes they have to get a little uncomfortably undressed to do that. So we wanted to have that there, but we also have pelvic health in-house.
Oh, okay.
And it's enough privacy for her. It's not like audio privacy, but you don't really need that, but you need a space option. And obviously the ceilings here are massive.
Yeah, super
And we
high.
didn't want to have to get a contractor and spend 10
Drop
grand
ceiling,
building something. So Cole was like, well, what about those things that people put on their decks to have privacy? Like in townhouses, I was like, I have no. We bought it on Amazon, but it's a deck like privacy thing. So all we do is pull this here and pull this here.
Oh God.
And we now have a private treatment space.
This is awesome.
It's not, it's not see-through, it's not anything, but it creates enough privacy that we can dry needle, we can do, pelvic floor eval. Yeah. And we didn't spend thousands of dollars on a contractor. In our other space in Central, we have like this long, skinny kind of galleyway, and we have a small little strip of turf, like literally enough room for like one sled to go down if we want people to use a sled. So when we moved to this space, like I immediately was like, okay, we need turf. And it's weird too. There's a perception thing that goes along with that too, though.
Agreed.
People walk in to either of our clinics and they go, wow, this looks like a gym.
Yeah.
And I love that. I've had people walk in and say, can I get a membership here? And I'm like, I love that you think that we're a gym. We're actually performance PT. And we can do training. Like we'll have that conversation with people, but I wanted to walk in and feel like a gym. And unfortunately, or fortunately, having a piece of turf is part of that. It's like, oh wow, they work with athletes here because they have turf. So our biggest small group training option right now is actually a session that we call Moms in Motion.
I saw that on the door, which is smart because right next door is a little like kids play area.
Yes. So I'm like, every time a mom walks their kid to the bathroom, they're like, ooh, I should go work out. And so we actually have a deal with them where on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we have Moms in Motion, their kids can go play there at like a super discounted rate for just the hour that they're here. And they basically babysit in a giant playground while we do Moms in Motion.
Because I know your price point is higher than a lot of people that are actually in like bigger cities. So how have you found those conversations to be maybe different than people you've met in the mastermind, or that you're even working with as an advisor at this point, that are in bigger cities that are maybe struggling with how they're pricing themselves?
I think some of it comes down to confidence. Like you have to 100%, 150% believe that what you're offering is as world-class as the price point that you're offering it at. However, I think that the unfortunate series of events that has led healthcare to be what it is nowadays is pushing people to seek out concierge care, to seek out of-network care. Because they're like, it's kind of terrible when you're in network. Like I talk to my doctor for 5 minutes, I talk to the nurse for a lot. Like they realize that they're getting what they're paying for. So people come to us sometimes already decided, like, I know it's gonna cost a lot of money, and we'll have that conversation if someone's not already there. Like, hey, what is it worth to you?
Yeah.
If 6 weeks from now I could guarantee you, which I can't because you have to do a lot of this work, but if I could guarantee you that your pain would be gone, you'd be back doing what you love, what would that be worth to you? But people often will, if they've done even a little bit of research, if they've clicked on our website, if they found us on Instagram, if they met us out in the community, they're like, you don't take insurance, do you? I'm like, I'm glad I give off that vibe in the sense that we are worth more than that. But no, we don't. But then we'll talk to them. I mean, we can take an HSA card or an FSA card. There are ways technically to get reimbursement if they want to go through the hassle. And that's, I mean, we offer payment plans. So people will come in and I'm like, listen, I know this first payment is going to be difficult, but give me those first couple of visits and I will show you how it's worth it. And then even in a small town, people are starting to shift into the mindset of, wow, it's worth putting my money where things are my priority. Yeah.
What's been the hardest part to actually get to where you are right now?
I think it's still the education part. Like it's the education on the inside of myself and my employees and our clinicians, understanding what they're worth. So that's a huge barrier. And it's like, if we don't internally believe we are what we're worth, then we can't possibly begin to convince somebody else of that. But then on top of that, helping them understand, especially because all of our clinicians have come from the PT mill model. And so they feel slimy, telling people like, oh yeah, this is gonna be totally worth it, or I'm gonna sell you like this 12-visit plan of care and this is what's best for you. And sometimes they'll be like, okay, well, we'll use them for a really, really long time to make it work. And I'm like, okay, but explain to me why maybe, like, if you could see this person twice a week, would it be beneficial right now? And they're like, well, yeah, I could definitely do XYZ more. I'm like, okay, so you are saying that you're doing what's best for people and then turning around and trying to save them money or save them time or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, I get that, because it's hard when you feel like the insurance-based world has been scamming people out of that for so long. But if we're truly gonna say that we're doing what's best for people, then you have to be like, listen, I am the expert. This is what's best, and I'm gonna walk you through this. I'm gonna be effective and efficient with your time and money, but if you want someone who's gonna do what's best for you and you're paying the price of doing that, then that's the standard that I'm holding myself and my clinicians to. So I think the mindset is the hardest part. 5
years from now, you're a big visionary. You know, where are you going to be? What does this look like 5 years from now? What does off the block look like?
So 5 years from now, in upstate South Carolina, there is the like tri-county community. So there's Greenville and Spartanburg County. Those are the bigger counties in like the relative upstate. And then the small counties, these very like, even the biggest cities in these small counties are still small. Is Pickens County, Oconee County, and Anderson County. And they're very underserved relative to physical therapy altogether, let alone cash pay, let alone pelvic health. Like we have the opportunity to monopolize in this particular area. So the goal would be at least one clinic in each county to properly serve people from everywhere around there. And then one, which this would be like either we would build it or we would buy like a big warehouse. And I would like to have Off the Block as a brand to become something where we have PT, maybe athletic training, sports psychology, and sports nutrition all under one roof for comprehensive healthcare, and then maybe like a DO or an MD who comes by every once in a while and can, where we need them to, can supplement that. But I would like to have sports medicine under one roof for the entirety of the upstate. So 3 kind of satellite PT exclusive clinics, and then 1 big sports medicine facility.
Nice.
And
that's cool.
20 or so employees, and
yeah,
maybe we can go on month-long vacations at that point. So
maybe.
That's the goal.
That's awesome. No, this has been really cool. By the way, some of you, if you're interested in working with PT Biz, Toni's actually one of our advisors and coaches, and obviously incredibly smart as far as business goes. So if you're lucky, you might get a chance to talk to her about your business. But this has been great. Toni, thank you so much for letting us see your space and to just see like how much you've been able to do. And honestly, in an area that I would not have thought 10 years ago would even support a business like this.
Sure.
And so it's really cool to see that you can have such success in such a a smaller, more rural area, which is obviously needs people just like you as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, you're right. You got a monopoly on those areas until this comes out, and somebody in Anderson is like,
right.
They gotta hurry up.
We'll hurry, it'll be fine.
Yeah, it's really good. So guys, this is it. Off the Block. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, we'll catch you on the next one.